We are really happy to see that you are participating in the LCA product launch. You are our trailblazer. Why did you decide to use a solution for your website?
Right. So, I think any business, especially businesses our size, being in touch with your customer is the most important thing. And I mean, we get lots of emails, we get stories, but questions, the whole thing of asking a question, is sort of clumsy on our site, or was anyway. I mean, you have to look through, you have to make sure you're not finding the answer, and then you email us, and then you get a response. So it's just another touch point. It seemed like, it makes sense that as you're looking through, you have questions. It's much more intuitive. And so this way, so that's why I was sort of intrigued by it. It takes that for us, a very static page of FAQs FAQs never seem to be that helpful. By the time you get to them, you haven't had your question answered. So, and makes it alive and makes it more integral to the site. And so that was one of the things that intrigued me about it.
That's so powerful. How is it helping you as a business owner? With all of this information, how are you just organizing it and using it?
Yeah, so like I say, I mean, it's really on different levels. First of all, just making sure that our website is clear, so that helps us right, if we get questions about things that we thought we answered, we hadn't, we get to look at that. Secondly, we get to see, questions ideas that we never even thought of, or that, so for example, we got a lot of questions recently about, do you have a virtual version? Now, we had thought about that, but now, we had thought, well, we can't do that for a long time, but it really pushed us. This is really to say, no, we got to do this now, because obviously with COVID, people want a virtual experience. So we're actually going to launch a virtual version in about 2 weeks. It's between a beta and a first version. It's pretty good, but so that was that right away. You can see how keeping tabs and having that sort of touch point and you're open to questions, is really, really, really valuable. And then, like I say, images. I mean, we're constantly like thinking about what should we do, and we got to, so we keep track of what people ask us for, and so there's many, many, many different ways that, again, I mean, any channel of communication is gold when you're an entrepreneur, and especially with COVID. I mean, I used to do these events. That for me that's research, right? I'm there, I'm talking to people. I mean, it's such a rich experience, and I don't have that now. So more than ever, any way I can, be in touch with my customer is valuable.
Wow. So how has your experience been in terms of going live? How long did it take you? Did you or your team members invest significant time to just get started with it?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because I was very worried about that. I don't really understand my website and how it works. We use Shopify. I hire different people to do different upgrades, but it's sort of a mystery to me. So that was very nerve-wracking. But in fact, this was really fun, because on a screen share like this with the Lumos team, they showed me how to get into the back end and exactly where to put this little line of code. And it took maybe, it wasn't even 5 minutes. It was 3 minutes. I mean, we just plopped it in and then refreshed the screen, and there it was. And it was instantaneous. So it's really, and then there was like maybe a 5-minute training on the back end to figure out, how to add questions when you want to add a question. But very, 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 very simple, very intuitive, and sort of empowering, because you feel like, I love that I could do something on the back end that actually popped right up on the screen. That little icon popped right up, and it was, yeah. So.
Would you like to see anything change on the Lumos Communication Assistant?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm just starting to think about all the different ways it could be used. We've talked about maybe now extending the usage to make it more, so we can build a community around people who are interested in building community, which is, that somehow this kind of interaction and conversation that's enabled by Lumos will help with that. And so again, it's not completely clear in my head how that's going to work, but I think that again, I mean, just thinking about this as another channel of communication, what can you do with that? I think that's what this is sort of opening up my thinking towards, like, what can I do with this? So I'm really just starting. I mean, we're right now so focused on product, but this is really more community building, and that's something that we're going to focus on soon. So.
And lastly, how did the Lumos Communication Assistant impact your site in terms of performance or customer engagement?
So, I mean, performance didn't change anything, but like I say, we feel more like we have another touch point, you know, and so in terms of engagement, I don't have numbers. I should have numbers, but I don't. But, you know, it just sort of anecdotally, it feels like, you know, we're more, you know, it's more of a conversation. But in terms of, you know, speed and all that kind of stuff, I mean, there was no change to how the site functions. It functions the same. It just has this extra layer of communication. So.